Hello, welcome back to my kitchen. My name's Siobhan Sweet and today we're going to make one of my absolute ultimate favourites, Millionaire Shortbread. Now I used to eat this when I was younger and I haven't made it in ages, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to show you how to do a proper Millionaire Shortbread. So we've got the flour, the sugar and the butter, and we're just going to make that into a shortbread. So we're going to add the butter into the machine and we're just going to soften that. Now I don't want to get it too soft because I don't want to cream it too much, otherwise it's just going to get too soft and we're not going to be able to work with it very well. So pop that into your mixer. You can make this by hand, but I would just prefer to use KitchenAid, it's a bit quicker. And then we're going to leave that just to blend together. So you can see in there now it's nice and soft, but not so soft that it's going to be too buttery. Then we're just going to add in the flour. Start seeing it coming together now. You don't want to overwork it, just pull it together and then stop the machine. So we're going to get the tray ready now. And what I do is just lightly butter a tray. Now this tray is a little bit too big, but don't worry about that because I'm going to show you how to do it. So just butter that, just so it sticks. And I've cut a piece of paper. And I've just cut the corners out there so it fits in. So this tray is 10 inches by 8 inches. I've got a piece of tin foil and I'll slot that there just to hold it. So if you're doing anything like a cheesecake or anything like that, it just helps because we haven't always got the right size tray. I gave this tray to my daughter, so I'm having to make do with this one. And that will just hold it together. So just with the back of the spoon, you're going to press this in until it's nice and smooth. So once you've got that nice and smooth, that's going to go into the oven for about 25 minutes. And I always cook shortbread on a really low heat, so 145°C is perfect. So we're going to make the filling now. That's nearly finished, 2 more minutes in the oven. And we're going to leave that to cool and make the filling. So I've got 200 grams of butter. Now, when I make this, I like to use a non-stick pan, and my pans aren't non-stick. The only non-stick pan I've got is this one. So it's not really deep enough. So if you've got a deeper non-stick pan, that's much better. It's just that the condensed milk tends to stick if you don't have a non-stick pan. So I'm going to put 200 grams of butter in the pan. And I'm just going to let that melt gently. And then we're going to add the golden syrup. In here we've got 87 grams of golden syrup. Just make sure you get it out. Now I always use Tate & Lyle. Love that one, really good quality. Then we're going to add the condensed milk. Now, condensed milk, just be careful, you can't use anything else. You have to use condensed milk. It's a sweetened condensed milk. Don't try and buy the caramel one already done. It won't set. So the reason why I'm bringing this up to the boil is because it's just going to set like a toffee. If you just get the bought one and pour it on, it won't set and you won't be able to chop it properly. So just add that in there. That's 397 grams. That's a full tin to go in there. Let that all melt. Just let it take its time. And the sugar goes on top, so another 37 grams of sugar. So let that dissolve first and then we're going to bring that up to the boil. So just stir that together, going right the way around the edge, just until it's dissolved. Once it's dissolved, we're going to turn the heat up and we're going to cook this for about 6 minutes until it's a nice fudgy caramel colour. Just keep stirring, don't leave the pan because condensed milk will catch. So you can see now it's really bubbling. Now be careful because this is one of the nastiest things you can get a burn from if this spits out. So just be careful when you're stirring it. And make sure you're scratching the bottom of the pan so it doesn't stick. A lot of people are frightened of making this because I think they're frightened of getting this stage wrong. And as long as you nurture this and don't walk away from it and just keep stirring it, then it's going to work. So it's about halfway there now. Okay, you can see that now. It's a lovely golden fudgy colour, and that's what we're looking for. Now, a lot of people just guess this, and I always like to use a probe. Don't worry if you haven't got one. It's just that it's very, very accurate. You know it's going to set then. So just see what temperature this is. It should be about 110, 111. That's the colour we're looking for, and that's the temperature. And when you're using a probe, don't put it right onto the bottom of the pan, and make sure you move the outside into the middle. Yeah, so that's spot on 110. So that's the lovely colour you're looking for. And then just pour that on top of your shortbread. So that's the caramel made now. All we need to do is leave it for about 3 hours to set. Don't put it in the fridge, don't be tempted to rush it, just let it set naturally. Because if you put it in the fridge, it's going to start to sweat, and when we come to put the chocolate on, you'll struggle. So leave that aside. Now what I always do, top tip, is I always put a bit of caramel on my marble top here, and I can taste it and see what it tastes like. I know that already, it's cooling down, that's going to be a lovely caramel. So see you in 2-3 hours. So that's the caramel cooled now, and I'm just going to show you how to put the chocolate on top. I've got 200 grams of milk chocolate. You can use dark, you can use whatever you want to top it, and I'm just going to swirl some white through it. So just put your milk chocolate on top. Use your palette knife. Now this is quite a nice thick layer. I like a nice thick layer of chocolate. Spread that to the edges. Just use your small palette knife. And then you're just going to literally put the white on top and swirl it round. Now because that caramel hasn't been in the fridge, it's got a lot longer to play with. If you put the caramel in the fridge to set, it's going to set that chocolate straight away, and then you might struggle to swirl it round. Once you're happy with it, just give it a little tap so it finds its own level. That's ready to go back in the fridge now, just for about 10 minutes, just to set off. So 10 minutes is up. Just take that out of the fridge. I don't like the chocolate to go too hard before we mark it. A lot of people have problems cutting it and it shatters. So the secret is if you just do it when it's set and it's not too hard, it's a lot easier. So I'm just going to go across the top gently, just to break the chocolate. If it's not quite set, you can always put it back in the fridge again, but I just want to break through that chocolate. And then you won't get it splintering. So you can see the caramel's nice and even. Take a nice middle piece out. So there we are, the finished caramel shortcake. Doesn't that look lovely, ready to eat? Please subscribe, and thanks very much for watching. See you on the next one.